Hi, guys. Welcome to day 11 of the 21 Day Purpose Challenge. So, I want to honor you for being in the steepest part of this climb. This is the tough stuff. For the next 4 or 5 days, we're going to be kind of getting in the muck, getting into the source of every part of our ego structure, really getting to know every single reason that we are the way we are. Um, because the result of doing this is that we're not going to see the world through those filters, through those limiting beliefs. We're going to be able to separate it and say, oh, okay, this is this personality, this is this personality, and this is this personality. So when the thought comes up, you'll know, who it belongs to. And if you guys haven't seen the movie Inside Out by Pixar, it's an excellent visualization of this. So in this movie, they look at a little girl's personality structure, and they actually use emotions as the archetypes. So she's got joy and sadness and anger and disgust, and these are the things that kind of that they deal with separately. They each kind of represent a different part of her and serve a different vital function in who she is. So if you haven't seen the movie, go out and see it because it's really illustrative. It shows how it's not just about finding purpose. It's about getting the clarity to live it out in the world, to getting that understanding of all these parts of our psychologies. So a question I get asked a lot is, what is the difference between my skeptical voice and my critical voice? Because they're really kind of close together, right? I mean, they both say no a lot. They both don't want us to take risks and kind of do different things, but they're actually quite distinct. And I'll just share kind of mine because it should kind of show how really different they are. So my critic is not just the thing that kind of pushes me forward that says, okay, you got to do yoga every day and you got to meditate and you got to spend time with your vision board and you got to yada. It's like this kind of should thing. You should do all this stuff, right? But for me, it's actually like kind of deeper than that. It's a pleaser. It basically says I'm not lovable as I am. I can't just kind of dwell in the sweetness of my own being and just kind of enjoy myself. I've always got to be doing. I've got to have a packed schedule and I got to be pitched forward and just moving like this throughout my whole life. Because if I'm not constantly proving myself, pleasing pleasing people, pleasing women, pleasing my dad, pleasing society, please, please, please. If I'm not doing that, I don't get love. And I got this message very early as a child, and not that it's necessarily true, but it's what I took on. It was the meaning that I got that I took on. That I think a lot of men and perhaps many women have too. Is like you are the sum of your actions. So if you are in action in your life, then you are a good person. If you're not, you're a slacker, you're a taker, you're a loser. So it's something I got very early that I needed to conform and to achieve in order to get love, to get approval, that sort of thing. But the thing is, it served me then, but it doesn't serve me that well right now. It can be very codependent if I'm not mindful of it. It'll prevent me from self expressing or saying my true wants and needs because it's always like, oh well, my happiness rests in other people's approval. And if I don't make them happy, I'll be alone and I'll die alone. And, the whole kind of downward spiral thing that happens when the critic goes wild. So, the critic has this core message. It says, I'm not good enough as I am, and I need to please or contort or conform myself in order to get the love I want, or to get safety, or to get abundance, or to get connection. Now that's different than my skeptic. So my skeptic is like the know-it-all, the guy who's seen it, done it. He's seen so many things that didn't work out. I call him my Marlboro man actually because he's such like a rugged individualist, and he's like, oh, people are on the take, and the government's screwed up, capitalism's screwed up, people don't change, climate change is, beyond repair. We're all toast anyways. We've got a broken economy, broken democracy. The 1%, oh, it's all the 1%, it's all their fault. They're taking, and it's this kind of tape that says, I'm going to judge the world out there and kind of push them away as much as I possibly can. And what it does is it kind of keeps me from connecting. Like my skeptic is really like a judge, like this person that just tries to make everybody wrong or not worthy of my time or affection. And, um, I love my skeptic. Like my skeptic, was, drove my thirst for knowledge. After grad school, and I really kind of switched on. It drove me into philosophy and economics and politics, and really so I could understand the world. So it's there's such a good piece of it because it doesn't want me to take actions for which there's no like best practice associated with it, or at least not a really good reason to take the action. So like the skeptic is like it's the one who makes me a smarty pants in so many ways, but it can also get in my way because it makes me judge people, and that's been very expensive to me. Meaning, really being cruel and mean and judgmental of my friends, family members, especially my dad. I mean, I beat him up for like a decade because I knew better and I was smarter and all this kind of stuff that I made up. So, so the skeptic has this message. It's basically like the world is screwed up. You can't change it, so why even try? Now, what the critic and skeptic have in common is that neither of them take responsibility for their actions. They're basically saying the meaning was made up, or the meaning wasn't made up. The meaning was given. So the critic doesn't take responsibility for having made the meaning up. The skeptic doesn't take responsibility for having made the meaning up. They just say, okay, well, this is just the new reality. You're not good enough unless you're loved, says the critic, and the skeptic says, well, the world is a bad place. You'll get hurt again, and don't trust anyone. So stay alone. And what they have in common is that they both say, and therefore, don't choose your life's purpose. So you're going to start to experience this now, if you haven't already, where one part of you is going to start to make up all sorts of really good reasons to not live your life's purpose, to not do this challenge even. Like you're gonna make me wrong, Vanessa, Jean, Oscar, Elena. You're gonna make us all wrong. You're like, oh well, they're this and they're that. And, they don't know me, and personal development is not for me. Purpose is not for me. This program stinks, and blah blah blah. Like there's going to be a gazillion reasons that these voices are going to make up. They're going to keep you away from what you came here to get. And after the challenge, they're not going to stop. Those voices are going to keep showing up. That's why this work is so important, so we can at least identify what they sound like when they do appear. So before we dive into your exercise today, I want to share with you a quote by one of my favorite Stoic philosophers and statesmen, Marcus Aurelius, and general, really. So Marcus Aurelius says, actually I have this printed on my business cards. I love it so much. It says, one who lives in harmony with oneself lives in harmony with the universe. So what Marcus is talking about is integration, like being able to love and appreciate all the different pieces of yourself so that you can realize that you yourself are composed of many opposites, many different voices, but that you can see the whole. So eventually accept the whole and love the whole. And when you get to see that, you get to appreciate the whole everywhere else. Appreciate everybody as, having their own struggle. And you can accept them for their character misgivings as you've, accepted yourself, and accept them for their failures as you accept yourself, and accept the entire experience of being a human being because you accept yourself. And so with this integrity, harmony actually becomes present. You start to feel that you are in harmony with existence. Your purpose awakened, and now you'll be integrated very soon. And you get to move through the world as if it's all whole and complete. It's all perfect. And this is why I spend 6 weeks with my clients on this stuff, because this is the hardest part. Loving all these different parts and integrating them so that you can experience this harmony with yourself and with all of the universe. Doesn't mean that there's not stuff we don't work on and fix. Like, I love and accept ISIS, but I'm still committed to them doing things differently. I love and accept libertarians, but I'm still committed to them, doing things differently. And that's fine. But it's like I don't make them wrong, because I'm not making parts of myself wrong. I'm saying, oh, that's their reality right now, but it's perfect, and maybe I can help them. So welcome to this fun dissection, reconstruction, pushing Humpty Dumpty off the wall, putting him back together, part of your journey. I wish you all the compassion and healing and ease during this, and we'll see you tomorrow.